guys, so you joined me here in Brixton, just going past Brixton Brewery's tap room, and I'm looking to head towards, I'm looking to head to Greenwich on this trip, so hopefully you'll continue to follow me on this journey. Since you decided to join me, why not give me a like, subscribe and share? I usually say this right at the end, and I'm not even sure if most of you stick around that long. No shade on you guys, but yeah, some of my videos are quite long, so I mean, this will be fair. But yeah, please give me a like, subscribe and share. Comment about anything in the video, a reaction. It all helps. The engagement to get me out there, hopefully more people to see what I'm doing, to see London, and to see the joys of riding a bike, an e-bike, a Super73 S2, and all of that. So I thought today I'd start filming in Brixton, because you've probably seen by now quite a lot of videos where I'm starting in Fulton Heath, near to my house, and I think it's always nice to give you guys a bit of different scenery. So on this journey, I don't actually have it planned out. I just know where I'm going. I want to go to Greenwich Indoor Market, or Greenwich Market I think it's just called, and I'm just going from Brixton. You know, sometimes when I do these journeys I'll get Google Maps out, but I think that tends to be more when I really don't know the route to the destination. I kind of have no idea. Usually a lot of the time what I would do is I would head to London Bridge Station and then head along Tooley Street, and from Tooley Street it's one cycle super highway from there, a nice segregated one, all the way from London Bridge to Greenwich, and I think by now it might even extend to Woolwich. So we're now heading to Camberwell Green. We're not that far now. And I don't think I'm not sure I've made a video going quite this way. I think there is one when I'm going to work. I think in that video I went this road that we're coming up to at the end of this road, the main road. I can't remember what it's called. Cole Arbor Lane. I believe this is Cole Arbor Lane. So even though I was born in Lambeth, I don't really know like all the roads, and necessarily like all the main roads. I just know them, but I don't necessarily remember like their names and that. The other thing in this video, because I'm going so far to the southeast, I am trying to make sure I'm not using too much energy. So probably like a lot of the time riding slower than I usually would. But the other thing that prompted me to make this video today is the fact that it's nice and sunny, even though it's cold. You know, you got the blue skies and it's nice and bright and sunny, so London looks nice. I think I said that in another video as well. It also feels nicer riding. Feels a bit more, gives you those positive vibes. GoPro, I've got an hour and 5 minutes worth of footage that I can make, so that's my challenge today, to be able to get to Greenwich Market before I run out of storage to film the whole journey. Great thing would be is if I had enough space to film a little tour around the market, but I'm not sure. I'm not confident that's going to happen today. So we're heading towards Peckham now. And from there, I want to, this guy's running across the road, but I'm not quite sure he was like focusing on me. I think he was focusing more on the car, so I was a bit concerned he's going to just like run into the side of me. So yeah, we're heading towards Peckham, and from there I want to head towards Bermondsey, which will get me on the route towards Greenwich. But yeah, as I was saying, it'd be really great if I have enough space on my SD card in this GoPro to film a tour, walking tour around Greenwich Market as well. It's a really nice spot if you like food. It's a lot of street food stalls, little independent shops in the market, on the outside of the market as well, and stalls that have things that artists, crafters, all that sort of stuff is there at Greenwich Market. When we get to Peckham, which I think would be like about 2-3 minutes, we're going to turn left and head past the Damlola Taylor Library and head along what used to be a canal, and that canal will take us to Burgess Park, and from Burgess Park that's where I'll head towards Bermondsey. It's a lot of lollipop people. But I guess to be fair, it's like a really long zebra crossing and then another zebra crossing. Remember when I was doing delivery and I had my, I guess they call it onboarding day, and they check your bike over, and they had told me there was something wrong with my bike, so they sent me to this shop, Courier Cycle Works. It turned out that I think it was the rear axle was broken, actually totally split through, and it was only the fact that it was like fastened together, that was still together. and I did delivery for, I think it was like nearly a year. And then I got my job at Dunelm, which I was at for 8 years. And then I got my current job just over a year and a half ago at Western College. So yeah, we're just heading towards what used to be Canal now. And there's parts where it's very obvious that it used to be a canal. I feel like this is a bit that makes it very obvious. If you know canals, this looks very much like a canal. There was a video the other day, yesterday I was watching, and e-scooters that went past us. Those e-scooters, from what I know, they can only go like 15.5 miles an hour. They're not the super powered ones. You can go like 50 miles an hour and they have suspension. So what had happened was, the lady was coming along, she had her lights on, and a taxi, I believe it was a taxi driver, in a Ford Mondeo, was turning right and crossing over her lane. Totally didn't see her, and just drove right in front of her, and she collided with the front of his car, the grille, bumper, and seriously injured one of her legs and her hip. And people were like talking about, I mean, the police looked at CCTV and they were like, well, clearly she's there. What they did, they recreated the accident from the perspective of the driver, and they felt that it was possible with the street furniture that there were times when he wouldn't have been able to have seen her. So mango. So to cut myself off, to go on a totally different tangent, that lady said thank you because I said mango, and the last time I was in here, actually I think I'm going to want to turn right. Last time I was in here in Burgess Park, so this Burgess Park on the left, I signed up for a charity organisation called Sustrans. I think it stands for Sustainable Transport, and they're involved with a lot of bicycle infrastructure, and they told me if I see one of their people I should say mango, and I think it indicates to them that you've already signed up. But yeah, it made their day. Well, I don't know if it made her day. It's not for me to say how she was feeling from that, but she sounded quite cheery when I said that. But yeah, back to the accident. yeah, people were like, oh well, if she wasn't going, like, they were talking about her speed, and I was like, with that bike, I mean that e-scooter, she can't actually go faster than most bikes. So I'm like, it could have been a bicycle, a fully pedal powered bicycle, and then what would your argument be? Because, you know, sometimes people are very auto-normative. So, you know, since I guess the 50s, we've become so used to cars and it being a part of our lives, and almost like it's such a natural thing that some people will do anything to defend the use of cars, anything that a car driver does wrong. And yeah, I thought, even though they said e-scooters aren't legal on the road, I thought, you know, it's still a person who was injured. Where is your humanity in that? But, you know, some people kind of sometimes get a bit blinkered about these things, sadly. Look at this guy. Absolutely no idea anything's coming. There's like big old cars behind me coming along, and he's just lost in his phone. But yeah, for these videos I need to remember to get like loads of like pictures of the bike, because I'm wondering, tell me guys, is it the bike that's attracting you to some of these videos? So I was looking at kind of cutting out London Bridge, but basically I could turn right at the end of this road. So if I turn left, it will take me towards London Bridge Station, to Bermondsey Road, to Bermondsey Street actually, which is really nice street. It's kind of got like quite a community vibe. To be honest, it's kind of hipsterish. It takes you really close to Fully Charged London, where, or Fully Charged I think it's just called, where I got this bike from. Yeah, I'm gonna turn right. Go a totally different way. I feel like the last time I went on this bike lane over here on the left, yeah, it just ends in the middle of the pavement, and then it's a shared zone. And okay, yeah, it does have like a drop curve for you to come down. I think we're in Bermondsey now. And at some point I'm gonna turn left somewhere to head over to that cycle superhighway I mentioned. But I don't even think they call them cycle superhighways anymore. I think they just call them cycleways. Just hoping we can make it through that temporary traffic light. Temporary traffic lights seem to be everywhere these days. And their phasing is so inconvenient. I mean, I'm sure obviously the work that's being done is needed. Sometimes you can't even see anybody doing any work, which I think frustrates a lot of people. I think they would feel that it wouldn't frustrate them so much if they could at least see the work happening. Area before in my life. It's always nice to go to new areas. See different scenery. Familiar with this junction. Okay, so this is the cycle superhighway I was talking about. This is going to take us all the way to Greenwich. We got Southwark Park on the right. Never been in there. Maybe one day I should give it a visit. Maybe somewhere for a nice talk. You can see Canary Wharf straight ahead. And to the left is the Rotherhithe Tunnel, one of the tunnels that goes under the Thames. What's nice is looking down at the indicator, I've still only I've only gone down by, I think it's just under a quarter of the battery. So I was a bit concerned about being able to get back home under my own, well, not under my own power, because that would really be a slog, but getting back and having enough battery to get back. I mean, I can always go and get the train, but I've got the restriction that I have to get on the train before 5, so I wouldn't be allowed to get on the train between 5 and 7, which is peak commuter time. And understandably, there'll be a lot of commuters, a lot of people finishing up work and going home. So see, they want to have as much space for all the commuters. My previous, not my previous bike, the bike before that. So you can actually take a folding bike onto the train. So my first fat tire e-bike technically could have, because it did fold. The only thing is like a really big folding bike. And in reality, the folding bikes they're talking about are more like Bromptons. So you know, they're not really, they won't really take up much more space than one sole person. So previously, this bit was a gap, I believe it was a gap in the cycleway. That took them quite a while to do. So I think if I remember correctly, you had to ride in the traffic, and now we have a segregated section. So it was cheeky of the guy in the Honda E and the bus were in the yellow box arm. So even though he saw me coming across, the guy in the Honda E was still pushing forward. And they say looking at his lights to see that they were still red. In the distance, I can see the yellow arches of McDonald's. It's going to be a big saviour for me because I actually have needed to use the toilet for quite a while now. And it's not really that bad when I'm sitting here riding at all. It's when I have to stop at the lights that it starts bearing down on my bladder. So yeah, I'm going to use this McDonald's as a pit stop, and I think from the McDonald's it's about 10 to 15 minutes more riding, if that even, to get to Greenwich. So hopefully this will warm me up a bit as well. I wish with these bike racks they put these things at the front of the store where more people can see them. So if anyone's trying to steal anything off your bike or steal the whole bike, they're less likely to do it when you've got a lot of people watching. But here there's not really, I mean there's that business over there, but there's not really many eyes on anyone. Okay, so back on the road again after a nice pit stop. When I looked on the app, I've only used 30% of the battery to get from all the way from Fulton Heath all the way over here. So I think what's the area? I have to look it up when I'm doing the editing. The video I was telling you about, where the woman got hit by the taxi. People were saying she didn't have any protection, so what they meant was she didn't have a helmet. But the thing was, it wasn't her head that was the issue. I think people sometimes just think, you know, just put a helmet on and everything's fine and dandy. But there are obviously other injuries that you can sustain as a cyclist, unfortunately. So they didn't go into any detail as to what exactly her injuries were, but they kept talking about her legs. So I could only imagine that she had at least sustained one break to bone in her leg. Maybe like shattered it, I don't know. But I think people kind of forget some of these things, and you know, years ago there was a lot of prominence, a lot of focus on, unfortunately, cycling deaths where it was a bicycle, a cyclist and a truck making a left turn and the cyclist getting crushed. And not crossing. Yeah, it's like, obviously a helmet wouldn't have helped in those sorts of situations. It's like for cycling, there's so many other factors that aid in safety. So things like segregated cycle lanes like this one, awareness, and it's not just drivers, cyclists being aware of their own safety, checking to see if people have seen them, not assuming that people have seen them, and various things like that. just coming into Greenwich now. I was getting a little bit confused by the lights and thinking I had to stop. I think I might have gone the wrong way, to be honest. Okay, this doesn't go where I want to go. Yes, I think I might be able to get through here too. Yeah. So this is the way I've gone in the past, and this takes you to the Cutty's Ark, the famous tea clipper. Times when I wish I had rear suspension. Okay, so here we are. Greenwich Market.